Hey there, welcome to another video on chess. This is Bharat Divyang from the Zwang Academy, and today I wanted to show you about Lichess Studies. It's a wonderful resource. It's basically crowdsourced chess puzzles and chess lessons. Right? Millions of people use Lichess. A lot of people spend a lot of time creating studies. Studies are nothing but a collation of maybe puzzles, collation of explanations, collation of analysis, and you can actually create your favorite studies, so on and so forth. And today, my plan was actually to look at one such study and see how you can try and solve it. But unfortunately, Lichess right now is having maintenance issues, which is very, very rare, but does happen even with big websites. So we'll probably set this aside for another day, and today we can instead look at something which is an equally wonderful resource, which is Step Chess. So let me take you there. Okay, so this is Step Chess, which is one of the most beautiful websites for beginners especially. So this video is more for coaches, parents, and who are looking at teaching, coaches and parents who are looking at teaching very young kids, beginners, kind of like the, Montessori of chess. And also for beginners who want to start off, like you always felt like, hey, I need to get my fundamentals right. And all you have to go to Step Chess, create an account, and go to this part called For Beginners. And there's a course for beginners. Now, this is the very, very trivial, complete novice part of it, which is like arrangement of boards, how the pieces move, what's castling, what's the value of the figures, chess notation, and things like baby mate, which is like very, very simple checkmates. This is something which you'll also find in Lichess. But what's interesting here is actually the other parts, because here you have three things: simple takes, declare, check, and simple defenses. Now, these are kind of like the fundamental building block of chess in general. So simple takes is nothing but capturing your pieces, and you have 183 such puzzles, but capturing a piece with a little bit of a constraint. I'll tell you what I mean by that very shortly. Declare check is where you attack the king, which is a fundamental skill necessary for in chess for you to build on everything else. And simple defense is being able to protect your piece. So we'll quickly do a couple of ones in each one of them. Let's start with simple takes. There are three levels here. You can start with level 1, 24 puzzles. And the idea is you got to take a piece, but you got to take the right one. For example, if you take the knight, this is wrong because knight is protected. It's not an apple, it's a VIP. It's a very important piece, protected by another piece. But the bishop is like a low-hanging apple, so you can take it. So you can try a similar one now. So you're playing black right now, and the rooks are both VIPs. They're protected. One of the knights is not the other one. So being able to know this difference between the pieces and being able to take the right decision is what simple takes tests you. And the good thing is, I think at the end of it, okay, here it's not there, but usually at the end of typical puzzles, you see that you can test it out. Now at level 2, it's a little bit more complicated. It's more like middle game. It's probably not for novices. It's probably for beginners. You can still take pieces, but you got to think about which one to take, which one makes sense to take. And in this case, I'm hoping it's the queen and not something else. Let's try another one here. Bunch of pieces that you can take. The ones that you want to take is the one that will capture your queen. So you get the idea. So let's go back to simple takes. Let's look at level 3 and see if it makes life a little bit more complicated. So first thing is you got to always observe the board and see which is the piece that can actually kind of make sense. For instance, the free bishop here. So you get the idea. So now if you go back into For Beginners section, you'll see that the next one is declare check. So give a check with different kinds of pieces, and then obviously an arbitrary figure it means just that it could be any one of these pieces. So let's start with, say, check with the bishop, right? So typically the bishop would have like, 2 squares to give a check here and check here. But in these puzzles, one of them will be blocked either by the king, its own king, or some other piece, and therefore you have to predict only one correct answer. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is simple puzzles. Again, bunch of possible ideas, but this is the only check. Now, as you can see, it's fairly simple, but the idea being that, for a complete beginner, when you do this enough number of times, especially this quantity of 183 puzzles or 135 puzzles or 123 for simple defense, you will realize that it builds your confidence. So going through the process of it and just not looking at 3 puzzles and saying, hey, I got this right, is going to do you a ton of good. Okay, now defense you can think of it as retreat, protection, taking the attack piece, overlap, getting out of harm's way. In other words, this is what we call a skill, which is taking the attacking piece, escape, which is either retreat or getting out of harm's way, block, which is my guess overlap, and the S is basically like support, which is protection from another figure. So let's try retreat here. So you have the rook under attack, you need to escape from the attack. That's what you do here. Right, so that's a framework. KEBS is the framework, and you can apply this into simple defense and see that you have multiple possibilities of it. Okay, now, as I said, the whole idea of doing this puzzle, this entire video, was to help coaches and parents and even absolute beginners to give you the ropes of how you can start off with chess and how you can actually get into an action mode by doing a bunch of puzzles, doing a bunch of very, very simple puzzles, where the feedback is much easier to understand when you go wrong, and it's not very complicated where you need somebody else's support. And but just going through the process of it and being able to solve all of these puzzles, close to about 500 odd puzzles, is that when you finish that off, you get the sense of being able to take on more challenges. And that is what you're working towards, because that will really help you build the momentum, and nothing beats momentum in chess. I hope you like this video. If you do, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.